We're jonesing for some Jones. Jonesing for some Jones, by the way. Is there anything better than getting your fix in with a little bit of managing editor over at Landline? Your friend and mine, friend of the show, friends together, friends forever, Jami Jones. What's going on?
Hey, it's going, kicking it back off after a long weekend. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you did some fun stuff on Friday, did you not? You had a little bit of you had a little bit of 4th of July fun. What did you do?
Actually, no, I didn't. I was kind of lazy all weekend. I was rubbing it in, telling Dre that I just unplugged and totally just vegged out for the weekend.
How is that not fun?
Right now.
How is that not fun?
Yeah,
it's like, I didn't do anything fun except veg out and get a chance to get away from all you jerks. I mean, that sounds like a terrific thing. I mean, Dave actually hibachied hamburgers and learned about the city of Nineveh. That's what he did. He learned about the city of Nineveh on Friday. No, I mean, it's just that's the thing about the 4th of July. I was just telling Bridget, it's a big deal. I mean, it's one of those holidays that we get to celebrate any way we like. There's no rule on it. You don't have to have hamburgers. You don't have to have hot dogs. You don't have to go to a parade. You don't have to watch anything explode. There's no mandatory parades in this country. Nobody's forced to do anything. It's perfect America. You can blow stuff up, jump in a pool, and then veg out for an entire weekend. It's a good way to spend a weekend, isn't it?
Pretty awesome.
All right, what's going on? What should we know? What's happening out there, Jami? Keep us in the loop.
We haven't talked since the DOT made that big announcement a couple of weeks ago, and we're still sifting through all of that when they announced 9 initiatives, all of which OOIDA has been pushing for very hard. A little bit of everything from, pilot programs to increase hours of service flexibility, reforming data queues, more truck parking, withdrawing the speed limiter rulemaking. I mean, there was a lot. And I tell you what, it was all hands on deck here at Landline there for a few hours. That was probably one of the biggest pieces of news we've had drop on us in decades.
Well, the other thing is, Jami, is the fact that you've got this 9-point proposal, but anybody that knows anything knows that each one of those 9 points has a subset of like 16. I mean, so that's not 9 stories. That's endless. That's an infinite amount of stories. And I'm only being half facetious when I say that, right? I mean, that's like, because each one of those points has about 3 or 4 different angles from a news approach, correct?
Oh, 100%. And, backtracking to how they got started, why they ever came into being to begin with. A lot of times you have to know that in order to know how to unravel it. And so it's really kind of interesting to take these stories and, since I have been covering trucking, I started in 2000. Hours of service has been a hot topic the whole time, and it's always been we need more flexibility within the rules. And, these 2 pilot programs are going to basically unring some of the problems that we've had. One of them is the split sleeper berth, being able to go to 6 and 4 or 5 and 5 split, which a lot of teams enjoy doing and haven't been able to for years.
We
now.
lost a notable number of husband-wife teams. The guy's been on the road through his career. The mom is raising the family at home. Then she gets her CDL. They go out on a vacation in their later years. They were great drivers. They were great employees, great owners. And they just got the rug pulled out from under them. And there was a dent in the industry. I mean, it was a notable dent.
Yeah, that one really hurt. And
yeah.
So being able to test that and prove that it wasn't unsafe and shouldn't have gone away in the first place. And then the other one, just being able to pause the 14-hour clock, and not have shippers and receivers take advantage of that. That's going to be the trick on that one. It's not, you can just stop your clock and we'll let you sit here and rot for 3 hours. No, that's not what this is for.
We are interim entities in terms of the layout for the future of trucking. The future of trucking is robotic trucks with no people involved.
I disagree, but go on.
Okay, and they are. I mean, the ultimate game has got to be that. Okay, So and we are just in the way right now, and we are being dealt with right now because the paperwork, the ELD, I could go on and I won't, but through my radio years, Jamie, I've always tried to. I was alone in the studio at night. The driver was alone in the truck at night. We had that thing going. It's a small room. It's a small cab. I got a screen. He has a windshield. Blah blah blah, and my log was down to the second. Now their log is down to the second. It's totally ridiculous.
It's not a sustainable system. Life doesn't work down to the second. It really doesn't. Something's going to happen that's going to throw things off. And, that ability to be flexible and to accommodate those things safely has just been chipped away and chipped away and chipped away at. And, it's time that we get some of that back because, if robotic trucks, that may be two generations down the road from us. But we still have to take care of the people who are getting the job done every day right now.
Well, and the other thing is, here's my editorial. You don't get to accelerate to what you want by making the situation unsafe by those who are making it happen for you now. That's my other big issue with the fact that it's like it almost feels like a force majeure, where it's like we will just continue to create so much pressure on the people that are doing this job that we force enough out, so then we go with our hands in the air and say, oh, we have to actually remove all drivers from the equation. And but that strategy is not going to work, by the way, and it's just making the road a lot more dangerous, is kind of my take on this. We got completely in the weeds here. I have a question for you.
Okay.
So you got nine actionable things here, and each one of them has a gazillion subsets. If you were still a reporter, you are a reporter, that's not what I mean, but if you were still just doing that job, if you still were just out there hitting the pavement, doing that thing and that thing alone, which one of these stories would particularly grab your attention that you would want to pursue directly, if in fact you're not doing that already?
I don't know. I always migrate to hours of service. It's always, it's something that has fascinated me over the years, how government thinks that they can regulate when and how you're going to sleep, when and how you're going to drive, when and how you're going to do X, Y, Z. And I would dig in very hard on that because, there's parts to the rule that are misinterpreted anymore. There's, a driver should not drive when he's feeling sick or tired, and that was actually written into the regulations to protect the driver, and now it's being used against them. And so there's just things like that's what I really migrate to is giving drivers back their control.
Yeah, and I feel like, Jimmy,
Excuse me.
That's okay. I feel like that's, by the way, in your warehouse as well, but there's a lot of people. I like that story because it means you get to talk to drivers, because you get you get a real sense of personal anecdote in there, where the horror stories of how, like I said, that's the big worry about stopping the 14-hour clock that you pointed out very nicely. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, how many things have been onboarded to help the drivers, only to have the boys in the suits take a long look at the paperwork and figure out how it can benefit them instead. That's been the whole story, hasn't it?
Oh, another great example of that is the overtime exemption. That was written into the regulations to prevent truck drivers from having to work extra hours. And now it's being used against them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can leave it up to the fat cats. They're going to figure out a way to use regulations in a predatory way. But I think if we get smarter as a group and write these a little bit more bulletproof and protections in for the driver and make it clear that this is for the driver, it's not for the motor carrier, that's when you start winning these fights.
Yeah, you got to make sure that there's not somebody putting a poison pill in there that allows people to wiggle free of their responsibility, the men and the women who work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've only got just a few more moments here left with Jami Jones, but I wanted for you to give people a preview of what they can expect to see the next couple of days in Landline. I mean, after all, you have some ability to control what ends up in that platform, just a little bit.
A little bit. Actually, we're still peeling through these. We're taking each one of the 9 and we're continuing to break those down. So that will be a very big part of the August-September issue, which will be going to press here before too much longer, before we know it. And So those are things we're just doing a lot of deep dive, a lot of research into these 9 different topics. But there's a lot going on. I mean, we are still looking at fuel surcharges because the instability in the fuel prices right now. You never really know what's going to send them one way or the other. We're doing a lot of business how to continue to survive in this down economy and things like that. Again, we really just work hard to try and empower the drivers to right now survive and potentially thrive a little bit in this down economy, and that's what we're really looking to help them with.
The fast and the furious that is Nemo Nation has to say goodbye to Jami Jones. Promise me at some point you, Dave, and I are going to have a long-form conversation at some point. We'll save a half hour for you to talk about what it is exactly the FMCSA really does. I'm not being glib or funny because I don't think anybody can really define it for me at this point. I'm not sure whether they're regulatory or enforcement, and I don't think they know either. And I think the instability and the lack of somebody actually having that job for 3 to 4 years has really made it an impossible situation for the drivers, not the people who are using it as a stepping stone. We'll find time, Jami. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Take care.